Happy Tuesday.
It's Travel Talk. I'm so ready for this show.
I'm definitely ready for this show. I mean, it is always, oh, I need to hook up on flights. Oh, I need a flight plug. Oh, please tell me the flight plug. Please, I need to hook up on flights. And as a travel agent, then you're telling them that you're telling that person, okay, there's no such thing as a hookup, and they think you're lying to them, and they think that you just can't get it. You can't get it for them, or you just don't know, the best thing to do. And when you're really telling them that there's no such thing as a flight plug, people don't understand that the airlines don't have to have a plug. They don't have to have a discount. They don't have to have a trick or a trade, because if you need to fly somewhere, you need to fly somewhere. Okay, that's just that. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to give concessions. They don't have to do any of those things. So we have Jolis, and she is a vacation enthusiast, and she is an insider on the airline. So she's going to tell you all the real information. So I hope you guys stay tuned.
Definitely. Stuff that we've been talking about for some time now. Now we have an expert that knows, the information from her mouth to your ears, and not from us.
Exactly. So how's your week been? I know it just started, but how has it been?
Oh my gosh, this has been such a busy, productive week. And I'm going to say my week started on Sunday because I worked very hard this weekend on a project that's going to be starting to be, information to be disclosed at a later date, because I'm still working on the project. But yes, I've been super busy, and I'm actually super excited about something for a while that I haven't been. It's going to filter into a lot of different things, and I'm so excited.
So yeah, you have worked really hard on it, and it's going to be a big thing when you launch it. So I'm excited for it as well. Proud of you for, picking what you want to focus on, and it's a really good thing. It's a really good, thing that you're focusing on. So
I know I'm excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Lots of plans that have been made for the holidays, because the holiday season's coming. Can you believe that?
Yeah, this year just really flew by. Flew by, definitely.
So, yeah. So what have you been up to?
I've had a productive week as well, as you know. I've gotten a lot of things done. I'm starting some new ventures as well. And we're, wrapping them up and getting it ready. We're getting ready for the Boss Up Bootcamp. Boss Up Bootcamp's on October 23rd. And I'm going to be, giving out a lot of really good information. Have some really good guest speakers. We have Lysa, the #1 stunner, the general manager and owner of Stunner Radio. We have her talking about business, mental health. We have LaFlower Bowie, just a woman of God, author, mom of 8, wife, everything.
Her name makes me tired.
I know, right? She's going to be talking about the principles and the foundations of business. And then we have Miss Kat, super film director here in Houston, Texas, and she has a successful tax business, and she's actually teaching people how to have a successful tax business. It's literally a 6-figure blueprint. So we're all going to be sharing all of our information with you guys. So anybody that's in the room will walk away with a lot of information. If you're, wanting to start a business, you don't know what to do. If you're hit a slump in your business, you need a boost, COVID took you out, all of that, be in the building, because it's going to definitely jumpstart your business. And general admission is only $25. So you go to LysaTheBossLady.com and register. It's LYSATHA BossLady.com. So I hope to see you guys there. Also, want to shout out to our international listeners. We have listeners in Germany, Sweden, Botswana, Ghana, the Philippines, Italy. We have listeners all over the place, and I really want to shout out to you guys. I'm going to learn how to say thank you in all of those languages.
Oh, wow.
So I can shout out all of our listeners.
I only talk country, so...
I can say danke. I can say grazie. So I don't know the other languages, how to say thank you, but thank you so much for, supporting and listening. So without further ado, we're going to take a really quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk with Jolis because she has a lot to say.
All right.
Stay tuned.
This show is sponsored in part by Flat Fee Tax Prep and Services, offering quality tax preparation, serving clients nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
And we are back. We want to take the time out to introduce none other than the legendary Jolis. How's your week been?
It's just starting, so it's been good.
It's already Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. That's halfway already.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. So I guess it's been going good. I didn't have any hurdles to jump over so far, so it's been good.
We have.
Oh, J-O-B. Ooh, Lord.
Hey, Kim.
Kim is on.
Hey.
Kim wants to know about this flight plug situation.
So
when you see people saying, "Oh, I need a flight plug," what's the first thought that comes to your head after you roll your eyes?
Skyscanner.com. There's no such thing as a flight plug. Like, even anyone who works in the airline industry, our discount is for revenue tickets is not anything to write home about. Sometimes it can be, but for the most part, we pay more than the basic economy ticket for our tickets. We're not even offered a lot of the times the basic economy tickets because they sell so quickly. So best practice, if you want a quote unquote plug, is know when you want to travel. Sometimes you need to book certain destinations far in advance because you're traveling during peak season and there will not be a discount. Other times they're low season or middle of the week is the best time to travel. If you're looking for the lowest prices, you want to travel from a Wednesday to a Wednesday, a Tuesday to a Thursday. That's going to give you the best prices. I always use Skyscanner because it's going to give you the best prices across all airlines, and it'll compare several sites. But when people say they're a plug, it's technically somebody doing something illegal. Somebody that's working for one of these airline companies that is selling tickets kind of underneath the table because they do have insider insight as to when fares are dropping, or they're discounting or doing a specialty quote that they should not be doing. And if they're found out, they will be fired. So there's no such thing as an airline plug. And then if you want to talk about past privileges, that's a totally different conversation. But when it comes to getting a revenue ticket, a fly confirmed, my best advice is that you want to use one of the third-party sites. And then I prefer Skyscanner because it'll tell you what sites are offering the best price, and they usually will redirect you to the actual airline site, which is always going to be the best place to buy your ticket because you're going to get the best safety net. If you don't opt into insurance, that's going to give you the best safety net, because when you call up these airlines and all of a sudden you can't go and you didn't buy insurance, they're going to tell you to go back to Expedia or Cheap Tickets or Cheap Flights or wherever you came from to get your ticket, or that quote unquote plug. Go call them and figure out what's going on. So you definitely always want to purchase from a credible source.
I saw that happen. Like, I witnessed that happen in person. I was in Atlanta trying to come home, and I was flying standby, which I don't ever recommend, y'all. I was lucky and I cried, so they let me on. But the guy had booked a ticket on Southwest through Expedia, and Expedia canceled it. And when he got to the gate, he was yelling at the gate agent, cursing her out, telling her she was horrible at her job, just all of that. And she called her over her supervisor, and he just basically told her the same thing. He was like, Expedia canceled your ticket. We can't touch this. If it would have been anything but a third party, we can't touch this. Like, we can't do anything about it. You have to contact them. And he was livid.
Any airline is going to tell you it's above us now. You're on your own with that one. And then if you guys, I don't know if you want me to segue into past privileges. That's a totally different ball game when it comes to flying quote unquote standby. If someone is telling you they're going to sell you a standby ticket, that's also illegal. Don't let anyone beat you in your head and tell you they're going to sell you a ticket, because for the most part, at that point, you should just go buy a revenue ticket. Just go buy it, because if you don't, there's no guarantee that you're going to get on the plane. So that's first. And two, they should only be charging you the fare that it costs for that ticket. So certain airlines have, every airline has a different procedure, but there is a fee for buddy passes or companion passes. Airlines work companion passes differently, so you have to talk directly with the employee about that. But when it comes to buddy passes, you do have to pay the fare, which is a discounted rate. But once again, you're not confirmed to get on that flight. You also only want to get a pass from someone who's knowledgeable. A lot of new employees don't have enough experience to really know how flight loads work, how certain markets work. So I would be leery of getting someone a pass from someone who just got a job with the airline. And even if it's someone who has experience with the airline, who's been there for years, you want to make sure that they're actually a traveler, somebody who is understanding of how the process works and cares about you, because anyone can give you a buddy pass, but they didn't tell you the flight was oversold by 20 and your vacation will be in the airport. All right. So when you get, for real, when you get a buddy pass from someone, you want to get it from somebody who cares, because at the end of the day, each pass is attached to the airline employee's employee number and their name. So if you act up or you do anything, that comes back on the employee, right? If you go up there and be like, oh, they sold me this ticket and now I'm not getting on the plane because they didn't take the time to explain the process. Like, it's a standby ticket. It goes by availability. Like American Airlines, it's based on who checks in first. Delta Airlines is based on seniority. United Airlines, they have different priority codes based on in different classes based on what you pay for your ticket. So you have to be very, very leery as to who you acquire this pass from. And it's really always best practice to buy a revenue ticket. If you are not the employee or a direct relative, as a spouse, a child, or a parent of an employee, buy your ticket, because you will spend a lot of time in the airport, especially with all the airlines now announcing that people can stand by for free. Every airline has waived standby fees, as well as change fees. You only have to pay the difference in fare. But if you can stand by on the same day within 24 hours of your flight, you don't even need to pay a change fee. So that also affects non-revenue standby travel. You might have been thinking you were going to Miami, and now all of these different people who bought the 7 p.m. flight because it was dirt cheap can now stand by on a 7 a.m. flight for free. And revenue tickets, revenue standby is always going to go in front of non-revenue standby. So that's another big thing. Until we get further out of this pandemic and airlines start to change those rules back, you need to buy a ticket, because buddy passes and companion passes and all that are really not doing good. Major markets: New York City, LaGuardia, JFK, Newark. Don't even do it. Don't do it to yourself. Unless it's a Tuesday and it's sunny from point to point, and you need to look at the map from all the way across the country, wherever you're coming from. Every city that you're going to fly past needs to have sun, and where you're coming from and where you ended up needs to be sunny if you're trying to go to New York on a buddy pass, and you need to be going from a Tuesday to a Thursday. I wouldn't even play with it on a weekend, and definitely don't try it this holiday season. Atlanta, hot spot. Don't come down here thinking you're going to get on the buddy pass. You might as well just go ahead, and you might have to get a little job in Magic City to get your money up to get back home. Down here playing with buddy passes on any of the providers. Texas, Dallas Fort Worth, Dallas Love, Houston Hobby, Houston Bush. Hotspots, do not do it. LA, of course. Vegas, of course. All of the major cities right now are not, like, don't think you're getting a buddy pass to go there. When it comes to now, I will say I only recommend buddy passes for international travel.
I was going to ask.
Not hotspot Caribbean, which means right now, Mexico and Dominican Republic are the only two countries that are allowing you to come in without a COVID test. Hotspots, right? Anybody who's anti-vax or doesn't want to take a test, has to do less work, that's where everybody's going. Everybody's rerouting and going to Dominican Republic. So Punta Cana, La Romana, Puerto Plata, Santo Domingo, plus that surgery city. Those flights are full. Even on the weekdays, those flights are full. Mexico, Cancun. I've never seen Cancun flight prices so astronomical. Like when I tell you, I was looking at pricing, like friends wanted to go to Cancun for October. We looked at it in June. The flights were $1,000 for
Oh my
October
God.
flight. We were looking in June for October. The flights were $1,000 with a stop in Mexico City, not even direct, right? So Mexico is off the chain right now. Jamaica is a little popular right now because they, at one point they were doing 10 days for your COVID test. Now they're back to 72-hour PCR, but they're a little full. The other Caribbean islands that are not so full are like St. Martin, Nassau is not too bad. Puerto Rico's still a little full.
Those are the more pricey ones.
Yeah, well, Puerto Rico people are going there because the U.S. part too.
Yeah,
So,
they can go over there without a passport. So those are
right.
But availability for a buddy pass is best when a country has more strict restrictions. So when Amsterdam was at a point where they were requiring you had to have basically the COVID test within 48 hours, well, 72 hours from departure or from arrival. So that's really 48 hours from departure. The flights were more open. But once they said that, the US was green and they let everybody in, that flight exploded. So, but they've changed that back. So I definitely recommend a buddy pass for international travel, but you still want to have flexible travel plans. And you want to get a pass from somebody who is knowledgeable, because if you get it from someone who's just going to give it to you and doesn't care about what's going on, you could be in an issue. All it takes is one maintenance delay, one weather issue, and a flight gets delayed, and now they're rebooking all the people who paid for their full price for their ticket. They're going to rebook them first, and they're going to tell you like tough noogies, like you got to figure it out. And
oh wow, that would be scary.
Yeah,
definitely scary.
You had
nobody passed for this girl.
Right. You had an amazing vacation. Maybe you went to Greece, right? Somebody gave you a buddy pass to Greece. You had a great time. Now you're on your way home. It's Sunday. You got to go to work on Monday. But the person who gave you the pass didn't look or didn't think to look because they're not on vacation. But the flight the day before had a maintenance issue. And they had to rebook everybody on the flight that was wide open that you were getting on Sunday. And now you get to the airport and they're looking at you crazy, like, why are you even here? The flight's oversold by 15. Like, you're not getting on the plane. Now you're paying for the hotel in another country. You're having to contact your job. So be mindful. It's always best to buy your own ticket. But if you are going to get a buddy pass, get it from someone who's going to take the time and look at availability and not just give it to you and go, okay, you want one? Okay. If somebody just goes, okay, don't take it from that person. If you ask for a buddy pass, they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, they don't tell you what it looks like, meaning like what the availability is, what are your chances of getting on. Do not take it from them.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. But I mean, people are always, looking for the cheapest or, the shortcut or whatever. And I really appreciate you coming on and telling us the real, because it's a lot of twisted things out there. And I've seen where people bought buddy passes. I've seen where one of our agents, she went to Disney on a buddy pass from her brother. And I don't know why her brother didn't tell her everything that you're telling us. She ended up on Greyhound coming back to Texas.
Orlando is no joke, especially if you're trying to go in the summertime or during any holiday. Do not get a buddy pass to go to Orlando because one, it rains and thunderstorms. Everybody knows the rain in Florida.
Yeah.
So that's already one issue going against you. And then two, it's like it's like the highest tourism destination in our country. The flights are always full during peak season. That means starting from about May to about Labor Day, high peak season. Christmas season, Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, high season. The whole March to about May, and then we might as well just go ahead and roll into the summer because March is college spring break, and April, the first 2 weeks, is high school, middle school, elementary school spring break, and everybody's taking their kid to Disney.
Yep.
You just going from April to Labor Day. That March 1st to Labor Day. Just count Disney out. Don't do it.
Pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, just buy your ticket.
That's all I can say. Just buy your ticket. You are best. Buy your ticket. If you have to use third party, understandable, but be mindful of the repercussions that come with it. I always suggest go directly to whatever airline is your choice airline and buy directly from them, because that's going to give you the best safety net if you're not buying travel insurance, which you should buy.
You
Which
should buy travel
buy.
insurance.
That's
Yes,
another
definitely.
whole story. That's another whole show. We've had that.
I flew Spirit, and I've never had a problem with Spirit until this recent little debacle. I've never had a problem with them. 6 years, never had a problem with them until this little situation that was recent, and got stuck in Cabo for 2 days. After that, I am back to my old favorite Southwest. That's what I pretty much stick with. But never once do I don't even use what was that? The Skyscan. I don't even use that. I just go straight to Southwest. And
Skyscanner is going to take you to the airline's website. It tells you the different prices, and when you click the price, it'll tell you the site. It'll give you the sites that have the prices, and 9 times out of 10, it's directing you to the airline site.
I think that's everybody's best bet. I mean, regardless, it's your best bet rather than using a third party, because third parties are known for the good bait and switch. But even if they don't bait and switch you, it's difficult to get in touch with them when you're in a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
When something is going down, you're gonna have to wait 3 business days to speak with the supervisor. So
I don't ever book with a third party.
If you buy directly with an airline, and even if you can't fly, so even if with an airline, even if you don't have travel insurance, as long as it's not a basic economy ticket for the most part, they'll give you a credit. You can always use it for future date. Like if you have a rationale as to why you can't travel, you don't even have to wait, because I know all the airlines have those long wait times. You can go right online to all the airlines' websites, pull up your ticket and say that you need to cancel, put in a rationale, and you'll get a voucher, as long as it's not a basic economy ticket for any of those airlines.
Yeah, that's pretty much what my experience has been. And the situation that happened when I was in Atlanta, when I left Dreammaker and I was trying to come home, I missed my flight, and so I waited standby for the next flight. So my bags beat me to Houston, but I really, at that point, I didn't care, because I just wanted to go home. And I took a chance, but they did first come, first serve. And then the other 2 people that were behind me, they disappeared. The lady said, "Stay right here." And I stayed right there. I wanted on the flight. So they disappeared. And so when they were calling for standby, they just, hey, go ahead. And I just, I pay attention to that. Also, when I'm having a situation, if the earliest that you can let them know, especially Southwest, if you call them within 24 hours, they'll give you a refund right back to your card, immediate.
Yeah, I know the other major airlines don't do that. You have to buy a refundable ticket. Nobody's just giving refunds, so that's nice of Southwest. But I know the other major airlines don't do that. They do credits and vouchers unless you have a fully refundable ticket.
So travel insurance.
I'm okay with the credits and the vouchers, because I'm going to use them. So
yeah, they definitely don't keep your money. United, American, and Delta do give you, if you don't fly, you'll get a credit, as long as you call them, let them know. And sometimes even if you don't, you can call with your ticket number and be like, oh, X, Y, and Z happened. And for the most part, you always get a voucher, unless you had a basic economy ticket. Then that's a different question. But I think right now they even waived some of the restrictions because of the pandemic with different airlines.
They are waiving a lot of that, a lot of change fees too. I've seen that they've been waiving that.
Fees have been waived. Only thing you have to pay is if there's a difference in fare. But the workaround for that is, a lot of people, I'm noticing that if it's within 24 hours, they will stand by for the earlier flight. But if it's oh, I can't leave today, I need to leave a different date, then yeah, you have to pay the difference in fare, if there is any.
Right. And see, I don't know if there was a difference in fare in the ticket when I actually got on the plane, or the ticket or the flight that I missed. But they didn't charge me anything. I just, I stood by, and it was okay, go ahead.
Whenever you miss your flight, and you made it to the airport and you miss your flight, they stand you by for the next one. There is no charge. They could, if you're late or something happens, I believe all airlines are called a flat tire rule. They'll keep rolling you over on standby. However, if you come up and say the wrong thing, for the most part, You're repricing your ticket. Full if you're on a base, well, not even basic economy right now. So previously, prior pandemic, if you want a basic economy ticket, they wouldn't be like, oh, we're gonna stand you by. It would be like, you forfeited your ticket. Now let me tell you what the new price is. But if you had a higher fare of ticket, then they stand you by.
I've never bought. I thought about buying like a business class or a first. I've never done that. I've always done basic economy tickets. What's the difference?
So basic economy is no frills, right? So if you mess up or anything like that, or you don't take well, let me explain this first before I say this next part. So basically there's no frills. You can't pick your seat. You usually don't get a free checked bag. You can't make any changes, anything like that. First class business, you get to board first, you get to check bags, you get food, you get drinks, you get to feel fancy. The seats are bigger. It's only 2 and 2. It's just a different feel. But the bigger thing is, a lot of people I want to bring up, there's a site called Skip Lagged. So some people will buy, say for instance, you're in Texas, you're trying to get to Atlanta. Texas to Atlanta is a $450 ticket. And you're like, what? It's crazy. Like, why is it $450 right now? But you go to that site and it'll say like Texas to Charlotte, but you stop in Atlanta. That's only $120. So they'll buy the ticket from Texas to Charlotte, but they really only going to Atlanta. The layovers in Atlanta, right? So you're going to only spend 120 versus 450, and you're going to get off on the middle leg. Let me say this very clearly to those who use that. If we figure out that's what you did, you will be charged minimum $200. That's first and foremost.
Wow, that's a lot to go through.
Well, you're just buying the ticket online. You just buy the ticket online. So your ticket will say that, but you're getting off in Atlanta. The other big thing is you can never check a bag doing that nonsense, right? Because your bag is always going to be checked to your destination. And
exactly.
if you say to the agent, like, no, can you just check my bag to Atlanta? We're going to look at you go, why would we do that if that's your destination? Now we're going to cancel your ticket. So that's second. And then everybody knows with when you have too big of a carry-on bag, right? You get to the gate, Spirit, Southwest, United, first of all, Spirit, we already know your carry-on bag better be the right size. But any of the other major airlines, if you get there and your bag doesn't fit in the overhead bin, or they've run out of overhead space, and United and I believe in American, you can't you have to buy, like if you have the economy ticket, you don't even get to have overhead space, or JetBlue it is, you don't get to have overhead space. But if you get there and there's no more overhead space and they have to check your bag at the gate, guess where it's going? To Charlotte, and you were trying to go to Atlanta. So now you're not gonna have a bag. And what are you gonna tell us? Oh, I'm not going to Charlotte, I'm staying in Atlanta. Thank you for letting me know. Now you're really not getting on the plane. Like, what do you mean? Like,
wow.
So now you're going through security and you at the gate and you're gonna feel real sad. So I would be very leery of buying these Skip Lag tickets. That is also illegal. And if you're found out, you will be charged. And if your bag is sent, you will have to pay to get it back.
Ooh,
boy, they try everything, don't they?
Everything. There's a trick for everything. We got a sure workaround. There's a workaround for it. Like, we're gonna charge you. We are going to charge you.
Wow, that is crazy. So how often do you see somebody put off a plane for not wearing a mask?
That happens every day. I mean,
wow.
Of course, like in the markets, that happens like all the time. But for the most part, I would say now was just a couple warnings, like, hey, put your mask on. Put your mask on. It was more prevalent to take people off at the beginning and mid-pandemic, but now for the most part, everybody understands. Like, especially with all the airlines coming out with no-fly lists, and thousands of people being on each airline's list. Imagine having to go back to taking Greyhound. Having to take what's the train? Amtrak. Imagine having to do that.
They put you on a list if you don't want to. If you don't wear your mask.
You will be on the no-fly list. There are two lists for each airline. There is a temporary ban, and then there is the, like, your name come up, you will never fly again. And yes, people have common names, but like your name, and then they have your state ID number, your birthday, all of that. You will not. You can go on a third party and think you about to book, and you will not be flying. No fly.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. And so that's straight across the board. So like when you're on the no-fly list, you're on everybody's no-fly list.
All
airlines are trying to come to an agreement right now to share no-fly list. So it's individualized right now, right? So that's the bad thing. United could ban you, but then a person will go book with Southwest or Delta. You know what I mean? Or Delta will ban you, and then someone will go book with American. So now the airlines are trying to get together and share their no-fly list, because if you don't know how to act on airplane, how you gonna act on our plane? Nobody. We don't want you on anybody's plane. So you're really gonna be on Amtrak and Greyhound and Megabus and the China bus and everything else.
Flixbus.
Boat, whatever works best. Your 2 feet, whatever works best for you. But you will not be in the air on a
I
commercial.
actually saw that happen before too.
I've not seen that.
When I was standing behind someone who was on the no-fly list. He threw his luggage. He was so mad. He was really mad.
They're not playing with you. They are not playing with you. And people don't know. You have to respect, like, because there's been a very big uptick on like abuse and violence against airline employees. They're hypersensitive right now. If you get on the plane, first of all, you get the right agent at the gate, and you say, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, like, oh ma'am, oh, something's going on with your ticket. Please step to the side. Yeah. And if you get on the plane, oh, it's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, because then the people got to come walk you off.
All it takes is for any flight crew member to say, I'm uncomfortable. Once any of those 3 to 4 flight attendants say that they are uncomfortable with you being on the aircraft, you're out of there. That's it.
Wow.
So just keep your mask on, sit down, and be quiet, because all it takes is for you to say the wrong thing to any one of them. And the captain always backs the flight crew. 99.9% of the time, the captain is going to back the flight crew. And once the captain says, you have to go, you have to go, because the captain is flying the plane, and he will say, I'm not flying a plane with this person in it. They can't follow rules and regulations. And they will wait. They will wait. They will take a delay to take you off the plane. They don't care.
And then everybody else is going to be mad because you delayed.
Oh yeah.
I saw a video the other day, and all the customers was like, please just get off the plane. Please get your bags. Get off the plane. You so late. The customers were all rallying together like, you gotta go now. Get off the plane.
Oh wow.
You gotta go. And
I know a Delta flight attendant, and she said that somebody, like, right when it first started, like the whole pandemic thing, they wouldn't put their mask back on, and they turned the flight around.
Absolutely. Multiple planes, all airlines, multiple planes back to the gate, about to take off, like taxiing to take off, and will hit the brakes. Planes can't even back up. So that means that it had to go down the runway, make a turn, come back, and then turn it to the gate. That's why when you leave in a gate, a tug is attached to push airplanes back, because airplanes don't have reverse, right? Because obviously the captain can't see behind them. So planes will never go in reverse by themselves. So the fact that they had to do that big U-turn to come back to the gate, oh, you on a no-fly list, sweetheart. If they are about to go take off and they have to come back to the gate, that's it for you. There is no, you booked on the next one later on. No,
they were halfway to the destination, and they ended up being 3 hours late because they had to turn around.
They turned around mid-flight?
Yeah, like I felt like you know how you be in a car and you fighting with your brother. Don't make me stop this car. They stopped the car.
Sometimes you have to, so it might be like, oh, we were 3 hours in. Why didn't we just go to like Detroit? Like, you know what I mean? Why didn't we go? It all depends on how much fuel the plane has, like, right? So if they're in flight and something happens, they can't just sometimes land at the nearest airport because it's too much fuel for them to land. Certain airports have certain lengths of runways, and all of that is taken, the ergonomics are taken into account for takeoff and landing. So they probably had to fly back to the origin to burn the same amount of fuel, so they would have less fuel, so they wouldn't be as heavy, trying to land, because you have a plane crash if you're trying to land and you got too much fuel, because the weight would be off. Weight imbalance is super serious. Another thing is when people act a fool like that and you make a delay, all flight crew members are on a time. So if you're on a domestic flight, for the most part, those flight members are probably coming, the captain, the co-pilot, as well as the flight attendants are coming from other flights. You mess around and get your flight delayed, those people are going to time out. That means that they are at their maximum work day time, and now they no longer can be the crew members for your flight. So if you get one of those rowdy passengers on your plane, especially an evening flight, morning time, you know, they're just starting work, not for the most part, but an evening flight, and you get somebody acting up, they'll let them sit there and act up, because at the end of the day, they going home. They're like, oh, you want to act up like you're not listening? Take your time. You see the flight attendants start getting real comfortable, like, oh, he's not listening. Like they start like, okay, we'll just wait for somebody to get here. They on that clock, and when it hits zero and this plane, the door is not closed, because it has to be closed by a certain time, and they have to be pushing back. Like the captain has to release the brake, and the plane needs to be moving to take off by a certain time for them to be in compliance with their hours. If that is not going to happen, or they feel like it's not going to happen, they will politely gather their items. The pilots will get off the plane. The flight attendants will tell the people at the gate, deplane everybody. Everybody will have to get their stuff, get off. Then the flight attendants will get off the plane. And guess what? Now you really delayed, because now they got to find a whole new flight attendant crew and new pilots. And the harder part is pilots, because they're not just laying around. Pilots can only fly specific aircrafts. People don't know that. The pilot that you had on that 737 is not the same pilot that can fly an Airbus 320. Pilots only have trainings for certain aircrafts. There are some that can do cross, and especially if you're on a big plane, a Boeing 767, an Airbus 330, the two aisle planes, they're not laying around. Those guys have big seniority, big checks. They're not just sitting around waiting to be called on. Pilot union will never allow that. You're messed up. You get one of those rowdy passengers on your evening flight, you're gonna be very sad. Very sad if they don't see you off the plane.
Them rowdy people need to stay off of my flights. That's all I got to say.
I'm telling you, I'm not trying to deal with it.
We're gonna have to get a parachute so they can just go. Out the door, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not trying to deal with that kind of foolishness. That is bananas. But I see videos, and it's an uptick in it. I see videos all the time where, the passengers are going crazy. One lady was smoking on a plane, and the people behind her were like, and when the police came, they were asking her, and she was like, no, I didn't. They were like, yes, you did. You had da-da-da-da-da. Get out. Get off.
Passengers are not playing. That's the only good thing now, is that other passengers are realizing how it's going to affect their travel. This one person can have your whole flight canceled because there's nobody on reserve to fly your plane. Or if you're going somewhere like Orange County, California, they have a curfew. The rich people in Orange County do not want planes coming over there after like 11 p.m. If your plane is not touching down by 11 p.m., whether it be private or commercial, you are not allowed to come into Orange County. They will have to send you to LA and bus you over to Orange County, because they have an ordinance on the amount of noise that can be made after a certain time.
Wow.
Plenty of that.
Yes, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, they have curfews as well. You cannot land before about like 5:30 a.m. Don't think you coming in here flying in early. You better delay your departure time, because you will not arrive here early. We only want people coming here at a certain time. People don't realize it's a very well-oiled wheel. Just because you only see one thing happening, it affects everything else. When your flight is delayed in the morning time, that plane might have been going from Atlanta to LA, from LA to Mexico City back to LA, and then making the red eye back to Atlanta. If it leaves Atlanta late, every other flight that was scheduled for that aircraft for the rest of the day is messed up. You messing up hundreds of people that are on different legs, right? Flight crews on different legs. If it rains in New York and those flight attendants are supposed to be getting somewhere to make up the plane to go somewhere else, those passengers have to wait for those flight attendants, because there are no just extra people. Sometimes there are to fill in, but when it's bad weather, passengers don't understand. There's a lot going on. Like there are time slots on when planes can take off. If you don't take off at the right time slot, you got to wait until they can reschedule and slip you in there. Because once you take off, you're in the air, right? It's like a highway. It's not just taking off, oh, we're in the sky now. No, there are hundreds and thousands of planes in the sky, and there are routes just like a highway. And you can't just be on there all willy-nilly. If somebody's already in the fourth lane, you got to wait your turn. You can't just get in the lane. You got to wait to merge. It's so intricate, and people don't realize. They're like, oh, we're delayed. Why are we delayed? Listen, safety first. You just better have a seat and relax.
I want safety first. I'm all for that. So tell me how it works when when there's a flight that's like overbooked or something like that, and they move people. That happened to me one time, and it ended up being the best thing ever. I was flying to Ixtapa, Mexico, and our flight, there were more than one flight going, but when we landed, we had a big layover. And there was another flight that was going to the same place, but the layover wasn't as big or whatever. But our flight was way overbooked, so they asked for volunteers.
Okay, so when a flight is oversold, every airline has revenue management, and they look at the trends on how flights are sold, the selling pattern, and how they are leaving empty or not empty. So every flight has a certain margin that it can be oversold. If it is an evening flight, most evening flights have a better chance of being oversold than morning flights because people are getting to the airport. Depending upon like 6 a.m. flights, they might oversell because they know people oversleep. Right? They look at the metrics of how many people miss the flight, how many people are purchasing seats, and then they go off of that on how they're going to oversell.
Oh, okay.
Evening flights more so have more oversells is because they bank on people misconnecting, right? There are a lot of misconnections or people leave on earlier flights. So the variance, the gap of seat availability always changes for those evening flights. If a flight is oversold, even if you put in your interest online, because usually when you check into these airlines, they were like, oh, your flight is oversold. Do you want to volunteer? Some people can put interest in that way. But the only way to be guaranteed to be a volunteer to get off a flight is to be at the gate. You should arrive to the gate. If it's a domestic flight, you should arrive there like an hour in advance. If it's an international flight, at least an hour and a half in advance. And you should express that interest to the person working that flight at the gate. You can say, excuse me, ma'am or sir, is the flight oversold? If so, I'm interested. And you can tell them what whatever price you want to go with, whatever offer you're willing to take.
That's what I got. I mean, they asked for volunteers, and as soon as I heard volunteer, man, I was up out of my chair because I got the next flight. I got it. Then I got to fly first class, and then I got a voucher for like $300, and then I got a voucher for like $25 to use at the gift shop at the next flight.
So they'll ask you what you want. They'll take your name down, but they still have to solicit unless they only needed one and like you were the one person to come up. But if they need multiple people, they'll start like a do you want to be a millionaire type thing, like or an auction, like starting at 200. And I need X amount of volunteers. I'm gonna give you. It's always gonna be a confirmed flight on whatever's available, as well as the voucher. So it's not like any money is coming out of your pocket. So
right.
And if it's overnight, it also always includes hotel stay and transportation to and from a hotel. So and then overnight stays, or you're always going to be offered more money than not. But yeah, you can always volunteer, and it's an oversold flight. We appreciate if you volunteer. Thanks. But it's not guaranteed. That's another thing. Just because you volunteer, don't go changing your plans, because the metrics work for a reason. Because now a plane is coming in late, and now 7 people off that connecting plane are going to miss. And now I don't need volunteers because 7 people about to miss this flight. So it's always expressed like, yes, we need volunteers. However, it is conditional that, the plane goes out full. If it's not full, because maybe somebody got a flat tire on the highway and that was a family of 5 or a couple of 2, whatever it was needed, now it's not oversold anymore. So that's the real reason why flights oversold, because somebody always misses the flight. And sometimes people don't miss the flight. It's very rare that they're having to pay all the time. So that's why they continue to do it.
Yeah, I think mine was because there was a lot of groups. We were all going to the same place.
Was it summer?
Yeah, it was actually a fam trip I was going to. There was a whole group of us going, and we were all going to the same place. And there were a lot of groups, and so nobody wanted, because if they only had 3 open spots, and nobody wanted to give up their seats. So I did, and the price kept going up. Nobody would do it, and so they offered more, and they offered more, and I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, whatever price they go up to, you're allowed to have that price. So if you said like, I'm willing to volunteer at 200 and they need 3 people and like they keep going, then.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is good stuff.
I learned from that one, and so I'm always early. And so if something like that happens, I am all for it. So I actually got there. They had a 3-hour layover. So when I got there, they were still waiting, and I didn't have a 3-hour layover, and I was over in first class. So I'm like, hey. Also got money.
So we're
Right.
going to take a really, really quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and wrap up. Stay with us.
Calling all entrepreneurs. This is Lysa, the Boss Lady, and I have something amazing just for you. The Boss Up Bootcamp is coming to Houston, Texas on October 23rd from 10 to 3 at the Reverse It Center in North Houston. If you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if your business needs a boost, this is the event for you. We have 3 dynamic speakers and, of course, me, Lysa the Boss Lady, ready to give you so much information on how to do just that. Visit my website, www.lysathabosslady.com. That's www.lysathabosslady.com. Can't wait to see you there.
And we are back. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Guys, we have gotten a lot of really good information. A lot of things that I definitely didn't know. I mean, I knew off the top there was no such thing as a flight plug. I knew that, but I didn't know all of these whys and all of these, different reasonings for everything. We really, really appreciate all the knowledge.
Most definitely, because now we have this. This will be on the website. This will play. People will have this information, and maybe I won't get even another call from a family member saying I need a flight plug. So
I see a question. Do airlines offer different discount codes? Every airline varies. Some airlines give military discounts. All airlines offer bereavement fares. You have a death, and they will tell you what documentation is needed, and that basically usually those tickets allow you to have flexible change dates because they know how bereavement works. But when it comes to like going to the site and typing in a digit or code, the most you're gonna get is use a travel agent. Travel agents get bulk fare prices. So definitely if you book with a travel agent, you might get a better fare of ticket versus booking on your own because they get bulk fares, which is also a little, because booking with a travel agent is also considered third party. So, but as long as you have insurance, which I'm sure your travel agent is always going to offer you, you're protected that way. But bulk fare tickets do have certain restrictions as well.
So,
for military, you got to contact the airlines directly. But yeah, each airline has their own rules with military discounts.
So I was wondering, what about this Wednesday thing?
I heard that.
Thing?
People said that you get cheaper rates when you go to the counter on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
I've heard penny rate.
Airline is that's giving you a cheaper thing at the counter is Spirit. Spirit is doing that whole penny nonsense. No, the rest of the airlines, it may be Southwest, but Spirit is notorious for sure. You're always gonna get a better price going to Spirit's counter for the most part than going online. All the other airlines, you go to that counter, you're probably gonna get a higher price, and you better stay out the airport. Like, now the whole Tuesday evening or Tuesday afternoon thing, I will say that sometimes that's kind of true, like buying your ticket on a Tuesday online for the big airlines, but going to the counter is going to be the same price, if not more, than online.
So when they talk about penny fare, that's Spirit.
Yeah, they're talking about Spirit, and when I've heard that, it's been people booking with Spirit. So yeah,
it's Spirit for sure. Always, if you're fine with budget air travel and like you just going with your backpack and you're fine with that and you don't care where you sit at, you just go to the airport and Spirit will get you right for $35 round trip. You ain't got no backpack, you good. You just trying to get somewhere in a hurry, there and back. You don't need no frills, then definitely go to Spirit and go to the counter to book your ticket because you're gonna get
absolutely. I only used Spirit when I went to Los Cabos because it was a nonstop flight for 2 freaking hours, and we were going for 4. We thought we were going for 4 days, so it was it was fine. We did buy a bag, but we were out of both bags
between like one person, because then if you do 2 bags, You might as well have just bought it on
You
another
might as well
airline.
just have your regular ticket. It don't make
No,
no
we
One
used one bag for both of us,
Perfect.
and it was like a duffel bag, and we used it for for both of us, and those tickets were dirt cheap,
I'm sure they were.
but we got stuck today,
Yeah, like
and they gave us a refund.
Yeah, as long as it fits your budget, like it's fine. You know what you're paying for, and if you're just trying to get somewhere, that's fine. But I would not recommend them for long haul flights. But some people don't care. Some people can take it and sit through that. So it just
No,
depends. Because for me, I like
no,
checking my seat. I like checking my bag. You know what I mean? I like having I always have a roll bag. So that means I have to pay for the bag. So by the time I pay for my seat and I pay for my bag, I might as well have flown with one of the big airlines and
yeah.
gotten some water and some snacks. Like.
The only thing that I'm gonna like, if I'm gonna book Spirit, is gonna be for something short or whatever. I'm not flying on Spirit more than 3 hours. That's not happening.
No, me neither.
I'm not. So y'all, I can't believe it's already been 51 minutes. We're about to wrap up Travel Talk Tuesday. It's crazy, y'all. But if you are watching, if you're going to catch the replay, please comment replay, guys. And go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I love that I subscribe to the YouTube channel, because now whenever there's any show on Stunner, it pops up on my phone. So I know when there's a show like Travel Talk Tuesday came, I was sitting here reading, y'all, and Travel Talk Tuesday popped up on my phone because I subscribed on YouTube. And that's just an awesome reminder. So go subscribe on YouTube to Stunner Radio, and you can get reminders for all of the shows. But I want everybody to say thank you to Jolis. She has given us so much information, y'all. Like, oh my gosh.
Of course. I want y'all to be well-traveled and smart travelers. Don't get yourself in a bind. You don't have to be.
Absolutely.
Be on your best behavior. Do not get in trouble.
No airlines playing around, because we do not have the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you. And like they're so strict now. Strict.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well,
they're actually saying thank you. How nice. We got people that listen.
You're welcome.
Always Kim and Norellis. They're such great supporters. Every time we do something, they're right there supporting. And I'm super, super happy. You met Kim, Jolis. You met Kim. Yes, when we were in Atlanta. She's the one with the honey blonde hair.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm super excited for going forward, and now we have some more information on being smart, well travelers. Yes. So we really, really appreciate that. So until next time, y'all, everybody be safe, be well traveled, use travel insurance, and don't think that you can get a flight plug, and don't buy a buddy pass.
Don't. And behave when you're flying.
Absolutely. Yes, behave. I'm telling you,
in trouble.
It's gonna be bad. Somebody's gonna get mad at people doing all this stuff. They better stop.
Absolutely.
So, all right, y'all, have a happy Tuesday. Be safe.
Good night.
Good night.